What's going on, everybody? I got another movie review for you today. Today we're going to be talking about the latest 80s action film homage to come into the theaters this year, and that would be Skyscraper, starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Now, right off the bat, this film could go one or two ways. It could just be a complete sloppy mess, or it could be a lot of fun. Honestly, this film does a bit of both. I had a lot of enjoyment watching Skyscraper, but it also has a lot of problems, and that did start to get on my nerves. But I am not one to start out with negatives, so let's start out with the positives. First of all, of course, you gotta talk about Dwayne Johnson. The guy is established as a really, really great actor when it comes to these fun, ridiculous action films. And in here, I felt he showed a lot more emotion than he has in the past films that he's done. His character I was connected with right from the very beginning. He was very relatable. And one thing that's also amazing about this film is the action sequences and the way the film looks. Honestly, the way that CGI and the visuals that are put up on screens for films like this, or, Marvel films, or more indie films like Shape of Water, the technology that's been enhancing over the past decade, over the past 10, 20 years, it's quite impressive, and it's no different here. The visuals in here are fantastic, and the action scenes, they're well choreographed. There isn't a lot of shaky cam, so it makes you want to throw up. So the action scenes are pretty fun, and the visuals are pretty stellar. And also the entire first act. The entire first act of this film made me think it was going to be something incredibly special, because from the beginning to the end of the 30 minutes, there was enough in there not only to get you connected with Dwayne Johnson, his family, and the other characters in this film, but there was enough in there to make me think that this film may add something to that 80s action homage genre, or an action film genre. Unfortunately, though, that's kind of where my positives have to end, because although I did enjoy the first act of this movie, it's actually kind of funny. It's kind of like a perpetual cycle of disinterest, because I started out really liking the movie in the first act, second act comes across, and I was still locked in. It's just, it was in a very stupid 80s action kind of a way. Then by the third act, I was just really disinterested, and I was just waiting for the movie to wrap. I even checked my watch a couple of times because I was just so thoroughly bored. And I guess saying that I liked the first and second act and the third act kind of bored me, I kind of have a problem with this film as a whole. Because, like I said, although right at the very beginning of the film, it does feel like there might be something added to push the genre forward and to push film forward, it doesn't turn out being that way. And I was really, really disappointed by that aspect, because there was a film earlier this year that came out that was another homage to 80s action films, except it actually did add something new and interesting, and that was Upgrade. That film did something interesting enough that where I could see its value. With Skyscraper, although it is a fun, stupid action movie, this film doesn't feel like it has any value. It just feels like the junk food of movies, essentially. A lot of really high octane stuff on screen with no substance whatsoever. And now there are three things that come into play here, and that's the script, the acting, and Ben Mendelsohn-ish. I'll get to the Ben Mendelsohn-ish part at the very end, but the screenplay and the acting, it's, besides Dwayne Johnson, I can't really remember any other of the actors in here, because the performances, they were just not that good. They weren't memorable, they weren't specific, they didn't do anything that really took me off guard. Like I said, Dwayne Johnson added enough in this movie to where I was on board with him. I wasn't on board with pretty much any other character in this film. Also, the way the screenplay was written, you know how in old films like Predator or Die Hard, the dialogue in those films had a lot of cheesy, fun-esque elements in there, to where although the dialogue and stuff was strategically written very badly, it was so fun to listen to and so enjoyable to watch. It's not the case with Skyscraper. The screenplay and the way the story is structured, it's just a jumbled mess. And when it comes to Ben Mendelsohn-ish, there is a character introduced to this film that is basically a corporate jerk. And to me, it came off as if the guy was trying to pull off a Ben Mendelsohn impression. I mean, his mannerisms, the way he talked, the way he moved, it was exactly like Ben Mendelsohn in Ready Player One or Rogue One, A Star Wars Story. So the biggest question So the biggest question here is, why didn't they just get Ben Mendelsohn for the role? Overall, guys, my final thoughts when it comes to Skyscraper is the fact that it's a complete popcorn fest. It's like Independence Day. It's like Rampage. It's like any other of those destruction, fun, popcorn in your face kind of movies. And I have a lot of issues with this movie. And unfortunately, because of that fact, although there was a lot of elements I enjoyed about this film, but you might, honestly, I think I can push this one, just put context there. If you're going to see this movie, just make sure you see it at a matinee price. So at the end of the day, I'll say that Skyscraper is a casual watch. Alright everybody, and it's your time to shine. Whatever your thoughts are, what are your thoughts on Skyscraper? Have you seen it? What did you think about it? Did you like it, hate it? What are your thoughts? Because after all, it is what you say that matters most, because that's how we get conversations started. And if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click right there and subscribe and become part of the fray of nerds who love cinema. You all have a fantastic day.